So guys, for today's video, I'm going to be talking about a character that has survived as a meta-relevant force and a character that every top player has to be ready to fight, despite all the patches in Ultimate. You know, the power creep of characters getting buffed, DLC characters coming out, the increased amount of characters with strong disjoints, camping tools, combo tools, etc. And that character is Wario. This is a character that really has been a good character for all of Ultimate's life. He's one of the very few characters, I'd say, to have always been like a good character in Ultimate's life, with like Palutena and Wolf and some of the early DLC like Religious Joker. Sure, I forgot some, but anyway, that's not the point. So why is Wario still surviving as a meta-relevant character, right? Like, what makes him good? And you could just say Gluttony, right? Gluttony is a great player, and he carries the character and makes the character look good despite everything. But one whole player doesn't define a character. Granted, if you look at this, there's basically a tier list of different characters and how strong they are. And there's multiple different results-based tier lists nowadays out there. There is this one, which showcases Wario as top 10. If you look strictly at results. Although if you look at it, apparently if Gluttony wasn't, maining this character, he would drop down 33 tiers. Granted, every character drops pretty much if you take their best player away from them. But yeah, so Wario, top 10 based on this kind of results tier list. Different methodology by Bernard's Loop puts Wario at around top 30 right now, which is not as good, but still really solid. And so with this character, he has been relevant all of Ultimate's life. He always gets good results, and you have Gluttony as the main one. And there's more like regional-based Wario's doing well. Loaf does do well with this character. Guys, in the comments below, let me know some other really good Wario players putting in work that I did not list, because the point is, there is a lot out there, and I know that. So, with this character, I want to give a little bit of a history of this character in those Smash games. In Brawl, he came out, and he was an interesting character. He was a character that was gate-kept, like many other characters, by one disgustingly broken, overpowered, nonsensical character, King Dedede. You expected Meta Knight, didn't you? Sure, he lost to Meta Knight, but the real problem was in Brawl, he got chain grabbed by Dedede. He got infinited, I believe, and I believe he actually got caught by a standing grab release infinite, where basically you grab Wario, and since he's so short and his weird combination of air mobility and stats, he would get grab released, and you could re-grab him. You could do like grab, pummel, air release, re-grab, pummel, air release, and just do an infinite on him. So, and a lot of characters had chain grabs and infinites on Wario. I believe Zeros had one as well. So the point is, like, he was honestly a pretty solid character in Brawl outside of that specific thing, which made a lot of otherwise good characters in Brawl non-viable. Honestly, chain grabs and stuff should have been banned, but we were stupid in Brawl days. So whatever. But if you remove that in Brawl, he was pretty good, because he has the same strengths he does in future Smash games, which, let's talk about Smash 4 now. In Smash 4, he was not a good character, straight up. He was one of the weaker characters in the game. Gluttony was actually putting in work with Wario and Brawl in Europe, and in Smash 4, I believe Gluttony was still playing, but I don't think he was doing particularly well in Smash 4 with Wario, because Smash 4 Wario, low. And the thing about Wario in Smash 4 is that he kind of got outclassed by the fact that all the good characters in Smash 4 are really dumb characters, right? Like, Bayo, Cloud are obvious, but you got Rosa with her ridiculous range on attacks with no lag. You got Fox's absurd combo game, and just other bullshit. You had Zero Suit's mobility and rage nonsense. And the big thing that I think held Wario back, though, in both games, is something that was addressed in Ultimate. They gave him combos into Waft, and lots of them. Nair into Waft, up air Waft. I think there's even a percent window before they nerf Waft Star, but you do like up throw Waft. And there's just a lot of ways to get Waft in Ultimate, which is a really big deal. Because if you look at his character's attributes, his traits, he is actually, he has really strong attributes. So real quick, let's go into stats now. He has one of the best air accelerations in the game, and one of the best air speeds. Like, that's obviously if you look at him, but like if you look at the actual numbers, like, he can move in the air for really, it is insane. His fall speed is pretty middling, which is actually pretty nice. It's like fast enough he can like land when he wants, but slow enough he doesn't get comboed for free. His frame data, I think hitboxes for some characters. I don't think he's ever finished. But yeah. Waft. So yeah, came out, half charge frame 5, full charge frame 9. You know, not the slowest move or anything, but not having a combo into it, considering the range and the fact you got like once every minute or so, wasn't great. He does actually have a low jump height on his short hop and his full hop, which is interesting because it makes his like short up area pressure better, but in exchange he can't chase people as high up as well. But his airspeed more than compensates for it. He's one of the heaviest characters in the game. He's right below Terry, Bowser Jr., Dark Samus. Right above. He is the same weight as Ike, Ridley, Belmont, and heavier than Snake. That is insane. Hell, even his ground movement, he has an okay dash. It's not bad at all. It's just okay. His run speed is okay. Like, he's moderately solid on the ground in terms of movement speed. Actually, this, he has a worse than average dash shield. But yeah, so like, he has really good attributes everywhere. And this is on top of the fact that he is a small character. Like, if you look at this character, just look at how... Oops, I got to turn off my game audio. Like, if you just look at this character, like... Here you go. He's just small. Like, in terms of, like, size, like... He's, like, I think shorter than Mario. Like, he's a little bit wide. Like, especially when he's jumping. Like, you already notice, like, he's a character that, like... Since he's so, like, compact, he's really hard to hit when he's jumping, like, combined with all his air stats. So, and this is, again, these have all been attributes of Wario in every Smash game. So, he's just generally an annoying character to hit that can evade everything. Like, you can watch, like, Gluttony fight, like, Swordies, and he'll evade Swordie moves consistently and then use Wario's insane air drift to drift out of that attack range and back in for a punish. Because then Wario, combined with that amazing mobility, has amazing frame data. So he can evade an attack, immediately leap back in, punish, and get a combo going, or at least advantage state going. And also because of his size, he's not easy to combo despite his weight. Like, he is not a character that's vulnerable to kill confirms particularly well, frame traps, like none of that. Like, you wouldn't think he's a heavyweight based on how hard it is to combo him and keep him in any form of disadvantage. Keeping him in the air, like juggling him really hard unless you like read him pretty hard. At the ledge, he has mix-ups with like ledge drop bike into air movement, or just generally being small means like ledge jump. It's hard to hit him for ledge jumping because he drifts around super freely. Even ledge roll, he's short enough to avoid like things like rising back airs as like a reactionary ledge roll punish. Like, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't hit him. So and I think that's what makes this character so good and has been so consistently good. Because when you have this kind of set of attributes, like, you just need a few key moves to be a good character, in my opinion. And then you look at his actual moves, and they're pretty good. They're actually not amazing moves. Look at his aerials, right? You know, the core of his game plan. His aerials are okay on paper by themselves. Like, Nair comes out fast, sure, but the hitbox, it's whatever. You know, his hands hitbox at the start, but like, you can see like there's a massive hurtbox you can hit him at. Like, I think his hurtbox during neutral air is actually bigger than his hitbox due to how he balloons. Now, this is a great combo starter tool, an amazing combo tool, but the point is, like, he has to get point blank to use this tool. Forward air it's not that big, right? You know, the initial first couple frames is pretty big, and then it gets very small. It lingers, which is really nice. Once again, it's not a particularly big move. The fact that it lingers is nice. You can combo off of that. Pretty useful. Back air is a great move. This move is actually massive. It kills. It's pretty safe if you space it. Like, his head gets really big, so it's even bigger than you think. Just because, like, the animation hides how, like, insane it is relative to his body. Why is his head get so big? It's like, that's an amazing move. Up air is kind of the same thing, where his hands get really big. So, his hand's actually disgustingly big. You like, see, like, the details on his fingers is kind of gross. Like, that move is insane, actually. Gets much bigger than you'd expect based on this character's model. So, ideas of... Oh, never mind. So, like I said, he has a few really good moves among moves that don't seem that great. Down air. This move isn't too good on paper, but his air mobility lets him, like, drift really well with this move and, like, go for edge guards. Like, oh, someone's off stage? Down air. Kill them. Lingers. Kill a move. All this crazy stuff. Right? And then you go into his ground moves. And you kind of have a similar story where it's like, his ground moves are okay on paper. Like, up tilt, you know, it's basic anti-air. The fact you can combo it into Waft is the main, like, big deal with it, and that's more so a factor of Waft being broken. Forward tilt, pretty good move, you know, kills people. It's a 2-frame tool. It's a ledge hold punish tool. Like, this is a really solid move Gluttony uses a lot, but it's not a standout tool, and you're like, oh my god, this move's broken away. It's just good. And then down tilt. The main thing is that Wario is a character that gets up close really well already, so having a really safe pressure tool that can combo into dash attack for kills makes it super strong. His jab is low, his up smash is just kind of like, it's like a generic Mario up smash, hits behind him, which is nice for doing cross ups, goes pretty high, start is whatever, it's just a solid up smash kill move. Forward smash is like the hardest read move, or like jab block punish if you get that, but that's rare at the time actually. And then down smash is like specifically like a re-grab punish or like a setup with like. So, where am I getting at? Oh, and then we have grab. Look at his grab game. It's like, alright, you know, up throw combos, cool. Back throw, forward throw, whatever, you know, there's positional throws. Not a big deal. And also saying, if I'm like taking too long explaining these moves, you can honestly just do this instead. You can just, here's like a separate take. So, when it comes to Wario's moves, like, his moves are okay. He has a few standout moves. Up air is really, really good. Back air is very good. Neutral air is very good as a combo tool, and forward has these uses. And then, like, up tilt solid, like, combos into Waft. Down tilt, great up close tool, combos. Forward tilt, like, kill move, 2-frame, yada yada. Like, all these moves are pretty good, but they're not, like, standout moves like a character like Cloud or Palutena has, in my opinion. All these moves really work well because of the fact that he has Waft, right? He has that move that kills you at like any percent, does absurd damage, and can be comboed into. And I feel like in Ultimate, Wario really shined because of that, and he's stayed relevant, always will be a good, relevant character as long as he has combos in the Waft. As long as no one finds a way to STI everything, so he literally can't land Waft. Because, like, despite all the sorties in this game, he can evade sword pressure. Zoners actually don't like fighting him because he can just kind of jump over zoning pressure and get in their face and abuse his amazing on-block frame data. The fact that even on whiff his stuff isn't really that punishable unless you like outrange it and challenge it. The fact that of course he's heavy means he takes hits, lives, and like if your character is not doing insane damage, he doesn't care if you're poking him for like 10 or 15 damage at a time. That's not a big deal. Like he'll take that, build up rage, and then since he's heavy, he'll kill you obscenely early with any random opening to like an edge guard. And like, he feels very anti-meta in a lot of ways. Because, you know, most good characters are characters relying on disjoints and space control. But his unique hit lets him get around that, take risks, get hit by small things, and then just blow people up. Huge deal. If you look at his, like, the patch history for this character as well, he was, for the most part, pretty safe from patches. There was a time where a lot of Japanese players were playing Wario. If I remember correctly, Kamame and Zachary were the big ones, where they were like secondary / dual maining Wario. And then throughout all of Ultimate's patches, there wasn't very much change to him. Like, you know, a lot of these like buffs aren't a big deal. I think the one's a big deal, honestly, might be like up B, just because that made a much more reliable move. And you see Glooty use up B a lot to like just out of show as a punish, sometimes combo under even for killing. Like, that's really nice. Like the main nerfs he got, which were big nerfs actually, they were enough to make me go from this character might be the best in the game to alright, he's just really good. Up tilt. It didn't linger nearly as long. They like cut it in half. Like it lingered from frames 11 to 19 down to 11 to 15 without changing any of the frame data. Meaning late hit up tilt into Waft wasn't the freest Waft combo starter in the world that covered like lots of ledge options, air dodges, whatever. And like you could hit like Waft combos off like everything, like even like percents that like you wouldn't think should work, nope, you could hit them max Waft. Went from frame 9 to 12. So like, in fact, I've talked to Gooney about this. He tells me there's times where he actually does not like having max Waft because it's really hard to combo into max Waft. Like you need like very like the windows for comboing into that Waft are pretty small and require really precise execution. And if you mess it up, like oof, that's it. You're burning that Waft, right? So those are big enough deals to make the Japanese players out playing Wario pretty much drop him on the spot. But as you can see, like Gloomy especially really found consistent combos in the Waft. If you watch Gloomy play, dude, he'll hit like the most random like neutral air, up air, and carry you like to a platform and kill you with a Waft combo. And it'll be like at 10% you get hit, and you take like 40 before you get put into the corner at Waft, and it's like, imagine this, but like pre-nerf like Waft in terms of combo reliability. Because this character still, and this is another big thing about the character, Like, even without Waft, he shits out damage. Gloomy gets one, like, narrowing you, up airing you, you're taking 70%, and being put in disadvantage. And keep in mind, Wario's air mobility, his crazy frame data, his really high power back air and down air and stuff, lets him edge guard really, really well. And his recovery is amazing due to Bike in particular. Which also, Gloony started using Bike for like ledge traps and like other, and just using it as an item to throw at people and kill them. Like, he's been using Bike very well. But like, all this damage leads into a position where you can just die. So, when I look at this character, it is not a surprise to me he has been relevant for like all of Ultimate, and really will continue to be. Because the only characters I've seen Wario like struggle with, where it's just like, okay, this is almost definitely a bad matchup, is no surprise, Steve and Kazuya, right? And that's because, and actually, some other characters like Luigi seem hard, Bayonetta, basically characters that have combo games that can match his. Because most characters have more range than him. Most characters have space denial, safe buttons you can press, poke with, yada yada, that lead into crazy damage. But characters like Steve, you know, with combos doing as much damage, if not more than Wario, or Kazuya with 0 deaths, and, you know, Wario doesn't have projectiles besides throwing Bike at someone. He has to get close and hit you. So those types of characters thrive. Luigi, you know, with his Luigi stuff. Bayonetta, with her Bayonetta's like, just go on, right? Those characters I listed aren't really popular outside of Steve. Like, Kazuya is kind of popular, but I feel like Kazuya players kind of get filtered and bracketed anyway by, like, Kazuya players tend to get filtered and bracketed, honestly, by, like, zoners, I feel like. And then Steve is ever, of course. That's, like, the one matchup where it's just, like, if any character is keeping Wario back in the meta, I think it is legitimately Steve. Because otherwise, if I go back to, like, a results-based tier list, like, you know, the different ones, he does well versus most of these characters. Like, Palutena's a struggle for sure. I've seen Wario make Aegis look like a winning matchup for, Gloony make Aegis look like a winning matchup for Wario. Cloud's definitely rough, but it's doable. It's like, Game & Watch, Mario, maybe hard. Alright, Sonic's a problem. And then going on the list, like, Diddy's fine, Fox is fine, Mim is fine. All of them are wins, but it's not unwinnable by any means. Peach, I don't know how Peach would go, but she's like filtered out by a lot of zoning DLC bullshit nowadays. And like all these things, I'm like, yeah, he like handles fine. And then looking at this, you know, whatever. And then if you look at like a bracket setting, like you're playing at friendlies and it's like, you know, you want to win, but if you lose, it's not a big deal, it's friendlies. So you don't get nervous in friendlies, at least you shouldn't be. When you're playing in bracket, you know, you don't want to lose because most people focus more so on not losing than they are on winning. A character like Wario, who has the ability to live forever, abuse rage, edge guard you, waft you, do crazy damage, and like just kind of burst you down whenever he wants with his speed, he's really scary to fight. So he is one of these characters that gets significantly buffed in brackets, in my opinion. So when you're not playing a lot of brackets, you might be like, oh, you know, Wario's not too bad. You know, I might lose sometimes to Waft, but I zone him out and I'm neutral and whatever. And then you're playing bracket and it's like, shit, I can't make a mistake. This is a best of 3 stocks each game. Make one mistake, get wafted, that's my whole stock gone. So he really benefits in tournament environments, and I feel like that's an explanation for a bit of a disconnect where people feel like Wario isn't that great, and then in bracket with Gluttony, you know, he does really well, and like people get super nervous and start playing the matchup really bad because they suddenly realize there's actually something on the line and they can't make mistakes, versus a character that rewards making, like, gets rewarded for punishing mistakes and is able to make mistakes themselves. That is like why Wario has stayed relevant, always will be, and like, you know, Gluttony's always gonna be putting work on Ultimate unless we get some crazy patch or someone finds a way to STI Wario combo, so literally can't work. And I think there's something else I wanted to add. Oh, but with that said, the reason I don't think we see a lot more Warios nowadays, especially Wario's like at the top level, is because he is still a frustrating character in Ultimate with all the characters that have disjoints and zoning tools. Playing a character that has to get close up requires a very specific mindset. You have to be okay with getting hit and taking risks that potentially lead you to taking damage and even dying to get openings. And most people, when you're playing Ultimate nowadays, you're playing a character that is very risk-free. So, you know, it's kind of like fighting heavyweight, or playing as heavyweight. Heavyweight characters like DK, Bowser, and Cinnamorough all have to accept they got to take risks. They might get hit for taking risks, and that's fine. And I think that's why you don't see this character as often as really you should. based on how strong he is, especially in brackets. Because for most people, the idea that it's okay to get hit is not on the cards, especially newer players. A lot of newer players I see like just want to avoid getting hit at all costs. And sometimes I tell people I get hit on purpose, not because I want to get hit, but because I know it's okay to get hit in a lot of spots. And I kind of like judge risk reward and say, you know what, I'm probably gonna get hit here, but it's fine, I'll take the hit. Maybe it puts me in a good spot. Maybe if I get the hit in, like, it's worth it, right? Or maybe I want to condition my opponent. There's so many reasons to be okay with getting hit. But especially if you're a new player picking up a character, you like see this and then you see like that character with a giant sword and 30% damage combos and finishing and limit cross slash, and you're like, I want that one. Because also visually, I think a lot of people aren't trying to play a dude that farts in others. Like, I could be wrong about that one. I don't like doing that. But I think that's another reason he's not as popular, as really his character strength and results over the entirety of Ultimate would indicate he should be as popular. His character strength and results indicate he should be a lot more popular than it is, and I think those are parts of the reason. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below on Wario and why Gluttony's dominating. List some Wario players that are really good I didn't mention because I know there's a lot of them. And yeah, catch you for the next one of these videos.